We have been listening the citizen of the Republic of Serbia, Mrs. Osmani Sadriu, pretending to be the so-called president of our southern autonomous province. We were listening to the stories, cynically ignoring the report given by the Secretary General and briefed by Mr. Tanin, as well as ignoring all the casualties in their recent actions. She is being silent about the fact that the fake state is based on war crimes and their founding fathers are in prison. She is being silent about Serbian casualties and ethnic cleansing evidenced by the fact that there are more than 200,000 internally displaced persons waiting for more than 22 years to return to their homes. And in the same time, bragging that they have received refugees from some far distant countries. The citizen of the Republic of Serbia, Mrs. Osmani Sadriu, has been narrating fairy tales describing fake state as one, I quote, as one of the biggest champions of peace and stability in the world. End of the quote. Mr. President, esteemed members of the Security Council, is this something what shows the champion of peace and stability in the world? This 36 years old Srećko Sofronijević, who was critically injured only 2 days ago. Fairy tales about the struggle against smuggling and illegal trade. Her main arguments are lies, and it is something normal, because she can lie. She is allowed to lie because she doesn't represent anybody but herself. Here I am representing internationally recognized independent state, member of the United Nations organization, and I cannot lie but be devoted to the truth. And the truth is that Prishtina's unilateralism is destroying all the efforts to reach sustainable, comprehensive solution through the dialogue. The truth is that we have implemented obligations from the Brussels agreements, and that provisional institutions of the self-government are loudly and actively rejecting to implement obligations they have taken. And that was stated by Mr. Kurti during the first round of the dialogue in Brussels in June this year, as well as it was stated on September 12th by Mrs. Osmani Sadriu in an interview given to the Süddeutsche Zeitung, where she stated, "We are not going to allow the formation of the community of Serbian municipalities." Here is the statement given, and I can give it to all the representatives of the permanent and non-permanent members of the Security Council. Mrs. Osmani, you have to stand up when you are mentioning His Excellency Alexander Vučić, the President of the Republic of Serbia, because he is also your president. You have to pay the respect to your president. And the butchers of the Balkans, Hashim Tači, Kadri Veselji, and the others who've been kidnapping innocent civilians and trading with their human organs, are in prison facing with an ongoing criminal process. You have to stop lying about 20,000 of casualties of sex violence during the war. Because according to the report given here to the United Nations Security Council, the report by the Secretary General on mission of UNMIC, which was presented on the 5th of April 2021, the status of the casualties of sex violence has been confirmed not to 20,000, but to 912 cases. And finally, the cancer in the heart of Europe is represented by the people sitting on my right, cherishing their fascist traditions from the early 1941 through the actions, well-known genocide actions of Bali Combatare and the unique SS Skanderbeg division. Finally, Mr. President, I invest protest against the fact that the representatives of the cancer creature in the heart of Europe were allowed to enter the hall wearing the masks with symbols of the fake state. Thank you, Mr. President. I am really concerned about the minds of Mrs. Osmani. She said a plenty of lies. Mrs. Osmani, this is Srećko Sofronijević. This is the guy your criminals have shot in his back only 2 days ago. He's not in Belgrade. He's not ordering anything. He is one ordinary citizen. This is Srećko Sofronijević, Mrs. Osmani. And please stop lying. Boris Tadić, he's the former president of the Republic of Serbia, thanks God. He's in well condition. He lives in Belgrade. He wasn't killed, as you stated. What are you saying? What are you saying? The so-called attacks on Serbian churches. 15 churches has been robbed and attacked during the last 9 months. 15 of them. You have ruined more than 19 graveyards, cemeteries, Serbian Christian Orthodox cemeteries. They were guilty for something. You've been speaking about your casualties. I'm sorry about that. But what about the family Селаковиќ? Mother, father, and 3 kids. Their names were recently found out in Đakovica industrial zone. There are no other members. All the family members were killed. You haven't been highly in the mountains 22 years ago because you was only a refugee. You've been there because you have been with the terrorists. According to the terrorist list of CIA from 1997, the so-called KLA was proclaimed as a terrorist organization. And please do not speak to us about the history revisionism projects. We know very well that you cannot hide the SS division and the traditions of Bali Combatare, who've been some of the most famous working for the Nazis during the Second World War.